Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is UK Cowboys TV Season 1, Episode 61. I am your host today, and I'm joined by a full Celtic crew. So we've got Scotland versus Wales tonight. We've got Paul and Graham with us, representing the Scottish side of the border and the Welsh side of the border, myself and Richard. How are we all doing, guys?
All good.
Not bad.
Good. Everybody good in the hood. So the good thing is we got plenty to talk about today. So I reckon this show may go on for quite a while. But not only have we got quite a bit of news that has gathered up this week from the Cowboys, we are continuing the positional breakdown series, and we're on to the big men up front now. The guys with the sand in their pants, the O-linemen. Luckily enough, we've got three people who all specialise in that area.
The bigger boys.
Exacto. But let's first of all, guys, let's hit the news feed for this week. So first of all, there has been a rise in the outbreak over in America. Few states gone back into lockdown. Texas being one, as far as we're aware. Whether that's changed by the time this goes out, we don't know. The big thing I just want to say before I get you guys what this means, I just want to say I hope everybody over there is staying safe and all your families being taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually messaging some of my friends in Houston at the moment, and they're saying it's getting pretty bad. They actually know people who's now picked it up, and some people I actually know as well. So I'm just like, oh, for goodness sake, how the hell, But yeah, so. Needless to say, I don't think I'll be going in September. I think I am 90. And not just that, I was on the phone to the Department of Home Security today.
Oh, nice.
Regards to that, and they could not comment on it. So I am just pretty much passing time and trying and get my flight money back. Pretty much, I think.
There is, Plan B, which is fly to Canada and drive down.
I could do that, but even but even still, it's still got the 14-day thing,
And they gotta let you over on the border as well, anyway.
Exactly. So, so any holiday makers out there, plan going to the NFL? It's not looking promising.
No, but I mean, in terms of what that means, do you think? Because I mean, one of the things that has come out, I think it was in fact today. Roger Goodell's come out and said all the teams in terms of training camp can still go ahead. The date's set, it's finalised. I mean, do you think this makes a difference towards that?
It can. I mean, the NFL have not. If Goodell actually came out and said anything, it's still going ahead as based on the new lockdown measures.
Yeah, still going ahead as planned. He said you don't have to change the dates; it can still go ahead as planned.
I suppose if the games are going to be behind closed doors, I can maybe understand that, but still, I'm just, I don't know.
It's difficult.
It's so difficult to get an opinion on it. If you know what I mean, you want football to go ahead, but at the same time, you just want everyone to be safe.
Yeah. Well, similar story to Paul. I actually be in Orlando right now, and obviously,
really?
Obviously, I'm not. So. That's another story with Virgin Atlantic.
Well,
Mickey Mouse will have to wait.
Yeah.
But like you guys are saying, I'll be honest, I'm worried for the season. Particularly with the southern states, because you look on there was a graphic shown on the BBC website today. A lot of the southern states are struggling. There are thousands of daily cases, and that's where a hell of a lot of football is played. So not just the NFL in terms of college. I know a lot of colleges are reconsidering their programs. And I think as the stories get worse and worse and worse, you're going to see more and more friction between the NFL and the NFLPA, because the players will not want to play, particularly if it's going to be a lower salary cap. They're not going to want to play the same game for less money, particularly the high earners. So I'm concerned for the season now.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of like raise up something in general as well, and this is to our American friends. Please wear a mask, please, because see, like here in the UK, we are taking measures that comes to that, and so far, like Graham can vouch this out. There's been what 5 days in a row now, no new cases, no deaths in Corona now, and things are slowing down in England as well, and same with Wales. Wearing a mask does help a difference. So just a wee message to American viewers. So just wanted to say that there. Sorry.
Yeah, go for a hot safety tip.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, it's just making sure everyone stays safe. The last
Yep.
thing we want to hear is people, that we know, we love, we speak to, we engage with, even on Facebook. We hear that you're ill or sick, and that just brings everyone down. But I mean, like in terms of something that ties in with all of this as well, is they came out this week and said the Hall of Fame game between Dallas and Pittsburgh's cancelled. In terms of the actual Hall of Fame, the whole event, we don't know what's going on there. They've said they're going to reschedule. Don't know what that means.
See if they end up doing. See if they're end up doing a virtual Hall of Fame thing. It's going to be such a travesty. Jimmy Johnson's been waiting all those years to get into the Hall of Fame, and it's just going to be online. There's no presentation. He doesn't actually get to see go side by side with the statue of his face and that. So
and has a crowd in front of him.
Exactly to give his maiden speech. It's not going to be the same. And that's what players look forward to when they're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So if that's anything, those guys are going to be inducted, and if it's going to have to be virtual, it's just I'd be gutted. I wouldn't care. I would be like, postpone it till we actually get a crowd.
Totally agree with Paul. If it was up to me, the inductees from this year would have their ceremony next year.
Yeah,
because they've waited this length of time, a year down the line. Hopefully, it'll be so much more feasible, and they can have just an extended event, so you can have the class of 2021 as well.
Here's the scenario. Why not have it as part of the Super Bowl weekend?
So I know what you're saying. So it gives you more time for things to calm down,
but it's all about Super Bowl's all about celebration of football as well. Why not celebrate these players in the biggest stage of them all? It's the Super Bowl. Make up for lost time.
Or even like around the Pro Bowl, so make it one big.
Yeah, you can do absolutely.
So then it doesn't take away from the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Like that. But I mean, going on the lines of the coronavirus and everything, Zeke a couple of weeks ago, too much annoyance to Zeke. The news was broken that he had the virus. News is broken again this week now that he's fully recovered and everybody's fine. The only other thing then is he did a live stream earlier this week. And then the news came out from Sports Illustrated that he was high while he was doing it. Since that, Zeke's now turned around and said, I think I might take legal action against this for defamation of character, which he's quite right. And I mean, if you watch the actual stream, there's like literally, I mean, if he's smoking, I want to know what camera.
He never did. All he did was having a couple of drinks, and he admitted to that on the stream anyway. But what Sports Illustrated have done, they've just took something completely out of context and made it something that is pure blasphemy, pretty much. Just there to get some hits, and now and now that's going to have a knock-on effect on Zeke, and the Cowboys are now going to kind of be like, Did you do that? And but it's clearly evident that he didn't. So so Zeke, go after him. Seriously, get after him.
I think so, because
to me it strikes of
clickbait.
Clickbait and a low amount of news in the NFL world right now. They'll jump on anything they can get their hands on.
And not just that. It's just not just that. It's always about the Cowboys. Bad news, good news, doesn't matter. If there's Cowboys in the headlines, people are going to... Doesn't matter if you're a fan or a hater. People will still tune in. And this defines us where we are America's team, if not the world's team. So, and I keep saying that.
It is true.
It is true. It's ridiculous how much of a non-story it is, though, because he has no prior, and it's the new CBA. So even if he was, what does it matter? It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, it doesn't stop him from playing. Yeah.
I will add, though, he's actually not bad at Call of Duty. He's not bad.
Yeah, and he's wearing a helmet as well that I like.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Hey, it's all about vision. It's all about vision. And if practice, stick a helmet on, practice my vision. But I mean, talking of another one of the things that came out in terms of the free agent market this week, the Jamal Adams news just will not go away, no matter how much we report it and try and get rid of it. It raises its head once again. And now, just to add to it, Jamal Adams, the Jets turned around and said a trade with the Cowboys could go ahead if they're willing to trade for Lyle Collins, which ties in with the offensive line talk we've got today. So I'm going to send it out to you guys. Good trade, bad trade, ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I've got two words for that draft.
Go on.
Fuck off. New York Jets, you can royally fuck off. You're not getting Lyle Collins.
I mean,
no chance.
If you're anyone watching, wondering why he's saying that, we're going to go into the offensive lineman later on in this. We have stats for Lyle Collins, and it will be understandable why Mr. Paul Stewart's getting rather verbal on that one, but that's fine. But just to add to our new segment for a bit of a smile, in other news this week, we also have Mr. Ha Clinton Dix. Now go and watch his video. The guy escapes from 2 bears. And I'm not on about the Chicago Bears. I mean actual physical bears, ones that will literally rip your face off. He escaped 2 of them.
I can't tell if it was a brown bear or a black bear, what type of one it was.
It doesn't matter.
Because it's in black and white, but the fact is, there was how many was it? Was it 2 or 3?
2.
Like even one was like, it was like a cub in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But even still, though, and we made the comment earlier. Clinton Dix's backwards running is just ridiculous. His speed, his backpedaling. Oh my goodness!
It's hard to find anyone bad at backpedaling when they're face to face with an angry mama bear. Literally.
I mean,
like, oh, everyone's suddenly NFL grade. I'm going that way.
I saw fluid hips. I saw rotation in the knees. I saw quick on the feet. Brilliant.
No fear.
To be honest, I'll be honest, man. If that was the case, if I was in Clinton Dix's situation and I saw that, Christ, I would actually beat what's his name, John Ross's 40-yard dash. If that was the case.
I mean, I don't mean to sound. What's that? Sorry, Rich.
I'm supposed to yell at bears if you see them. You're meant to make a lot of noise.
I don't know. I very much doubt I would stand there screaming. I
would love to hear
apparently that's the
thing.
If there was one thing I would love to not see, but hear the actual audio of that video. You know, because you don't hear it, you just see the reaction and how he backpedals back. But I would just love to see, if there was a "oh crap" or something like that.
But mind you, he is a defensive back, and they do like to trash talk. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was trash talking them. You goddamn bears!
It's ironic because he used to play for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
You still can't escape them in free agency.
But yeah, that's just a bit of the news, and we always like to try and end the news segment at the start of the show on a light note. So let's break into the offensive lineman in our positional breakdown series, guys. So we got a guy who's played offensive lineman, one guy who loves watching offensive lineman, and another guy who during every game will literally just comment on the offensive line play. I'll let you try and figure out who is who in all of this. When it comes...
Should it be pretty obvious by now?
Yeah.
No. Nobody can see people's bellies below the camera. Yeah. I mean, when guys, I like to watch college football and do all the scouting around that. One of the things I absolutely hate doing, I'm the opposite to Joe, is watching offensive line and scouting them. I mean, I've tried doing it one year for every player, and my eyes were getting crossed. So I'm going to let you guys take over on the scouting side. I'm just going to give you the numbers, the facts, and let you guys take over. So first of all, let's start with offensive tackle, guys, because, of course, that is the crown jewel of the Cowboys O-line in Tyron Smith.
You missed it, the most important part, the blind side.
Blind side, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What, the film?
No. Yeah, so basically, if the quarterback's left-handed, then your right tackle's more important. If the quarterback's right-handed, then your left tackle's more important.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned this before the show as well, Paul. That we're doing this at a time as well when Brandon and Marcus have done an offensive line show as well, who was on the show, and they're looking to do a crossover show with us. So
our friends at Cowboys Zone, big shout out to them.
Cowboys Zone. So not only are we doing this, which is just pure coincidence and timing because we're going through the roster and positions, they've done it as well. So anything that we add, go ahead, look at theirs, watch theirs, and you can go back and forth. It gives you some different opinions. But as I was saying, we're looking at, as I was saying, the crown jewel, if you like, of the Cowboys O-line, Tyron Smith. Been with the Cowboys now, he's in his 9th year. Taken in the draft in 2011, 9th overall from USC. At the moment, he's worth $13 million against the cap, which is quite a lot for an offensive tackle. But in terms of what Tyron Smith provides, would you say that the cap hit that he's worth, because he's worth just something close to that as well going forward? Would you say that? I'll start with you, Paul, because you play offensive lineman. I'm giving away one of those.
Yeah, you did. There we go. We screwed it up already.
I know. Yeah.
I played left guard and left tackle, so I played on the blind side. So I know.
Now he is at this point. This year is the first year where the Cowboys have an out in terms of dead cap. But he is an unrestricted free agent in 2024, which by that time he'll be 32. But
that's scary to think that, just how long we've had him for. Like, we must have drafted him when he was 20 years old.
Yeah,
we gave a massive contract too. I think it was a 7-year contract the Cowboys offered.
But we've benefited from it though.
Yeah, big time.
Like, because it's not took a much major hit in the cap because of that long extended contract. So well done to Jerry for doing that at that time. You know.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of what he provides, would you say Tyron is worth the cap hit then, Paul?
Worth the cap hit? 13.5?
Don't know the exact. It's somewhere close to that. It's just slightly over 30.
Yes, I would say so. The reason for that is because he is he's a blue chip, irreplaceable player.
He is
that line. Yeah. When he's on the field, you're guaranteed protection regardless, right? Like, he's never, like, I don't recall Tyron actually, like, he's been injured before, but he's never really came off the field during a game as per se. But it's always been like the day after things would actually like maybe cramp up, or he's had some niggles that is not healed up quickly enough, type of thing. Or like that's why he wears the braces and that as well.
Yeah.
So, but even still, when he's on that field, you cannot replace him. He is like, if Tyron Smith is the 16 games plus a season, if we're making the playoffs and that, he is the best left tackle in the league. That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but obviously the injuries is the big concern.
Yes. Well, I mean, here we go, Greg. Let's go into that then, and tell me what you think, and when he gets replaced, what the issues that causes. one of the knocks that people will have against Tyrone Smith is the last time he played 16 games in a season was 2015.
Yeah.
Is that an issue? And last year, look at the guy Cam Fleming who replaced him. Yeah, the issues that we had. Now we'll get further on into replacement players. Tell me, is that an issue for the Cowboys? And do you think, based on what they're saying, the news reports on Tyrone Smith, you're looking at a 16-game season from him this year?
Well, I mean, it's going to be an issue in week 15 when we play the 49ers and week 16 when we play the Eagles. And we have a 13-game-a-season tackle. Yeah. But just to touch on an earlier point, Tyrone Smith is not inside the top 10 of high-paid tackles anymore. So it in terms of cap hit, I would say he's worth it, because right now you have Laramie Tunsil on $22 million, Lane Johnson on 18, and Anthony Costanzo on 16.5. So when you consider those numbers, he is probably worth it. But like I said before, if he goes down in week 14, we're in trouble, because you have two huge games there. And this season in the NFC East, we're going to have to beat the Eagles in week 16, in my opinion.
There's no denying that it's a must win.
Yeah.
Regardless, I don't care if we're 13-3, 12-4. 12-3, 13-2, or whatever. Like, with one game left in the regular season, we need to beat the Eagles. Always need to beat our divisional rivals, no matter what.
Yeah, and then you talk about. I know we keep going back to it, but we keep talking about the CD Lamb pick. I couldn't tell you who the backup tackle is at the moment.
It is Mitch Hyatt right now.
Yeah. Just simply the fact that I couldn't tell you who it is scary. You will always get people in the media that go, the Dallas Cowboys could have had Austin Jackson. The Dallas Cowboys could have had Cesar Ruiz. The Dallas Cowboys could have had Isaiah Wilson. So there's always going to be people ready to pounce on that pick. Even though I agree that CeeDee Lamb was huge value and a great pick at that position, you're always going to get people ready to bring you down. So if it's not, I say if it's not even an if anymore, it's when Tyrone has to take time out. I really hope it's not December, because it's a proven entity. He is a 13-game season.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I don't know if anyone maybe kind of. Well, this is my observation, but there has been a slight pattern when Tyrone does become injured, and it all seems to be like just after halfway through. Like it's not. I don't think it's ever. Like, you can correct me. Like, anyone watching this, you can correct me. So be it on the comments for the video and that. But from what I remember, it's been like maybe like game 10, game 11, and game 12. You may have missed those games. Then he's back for game 13 onwards, because that's when we really do need him.
Yeah. It's the middle section.
Yeah, it always seems to be that halfway point. So I don't know if that might be something to maybe like if. I think we'd be like looking at the schedule and that. Like, I think there is one divisional game in there that I would be worried about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to add that in there. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I know what you say. It does seem to be that area. I know.
Ideally, what you would like is for the Cowboys to sit him during, say, I don't want to say winnable game, but a manageable game. You know, if say they come across a team that is struggling, particularly on defensive line, could you sit him for the second half of a game if we get comfortable? Could you manage his time? But again, you can't have opportunities, like you can't forecast for that.
No, I mean, the trouble you got is like O-line is one of those things where, like, literally, if you ever look at those five guys are usually the same five guys, barring injury, that start and finish.
Yeah.
You know, they're literally one of the few positions in terms of units that don't interchange and substitute a lot.
But they're going to have to come up with something because he will break down. He will break down, and he's got Joe Philbin as a coach now. Joe's been he's been a head coach at some point during the NFL season with the Dolphins. Fair enough, he didn't do particularly well, but somebody saw head coach potential in Philbin, so you can imagine he's got a certain amount of player managership in his head that they will be able to, give Tyrone days off, give him opportunities to rest up, and but like you guys are saying, I mean, he comes out with wearing so much metal nowadays. It's scary.
That is true.
Just as something add on, like unrelated to the timing, but this actual schedule again. It's actually San Francisco and Philadelphia. Then it's New York. We've got 2 divisional games at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So that's even more important now.
And that could be the decider.
Exactly. We're away to our last game's away to MetLife, and that can always be hit and miss. But who knows? Bloody Danny Dimes may actually pull off something for once. Unlikely, but it's not worth taking the risk.
Yeah. So I mean, on the opposite side of that line is probably 2019's best in terms of consistency. Probably the best offensive lineman across those 5 guys. We're talking obviously about LSU's La'el Collins. Now, madly enough, we managed to get this guy as an undrafted free agent back in 2017, which I think was just crazy.
So it was all down to an investigation on him.
Yeah, that's right. About something that happened in the university with a couple of other people.
Yeah, and it was clear they had no involvement with it and that, and we managed to get him first dibs on the undrafted free agency.
Yeah.
And what a player he's become.
Yes.
What a player. Because he was touted to be a first round pick as well.
Yeah.
First round.
That's right. Yeah, that's where people were looking to take him until there was, as they always say, there's behavioural issues or personality.
But just on top of that, it's beyond far the truth. He's probably one of the most nicest natured people within the team.
Yeah, definitely. No. Yeah. But I mean, since his when they signed him on his undrafted free agent contract, he's now on a 5-year contract. This year is only 4.9 against the cap. Then it bumps up quickly up to 12 million. He's an undrafted free agent in 2025. But I'll get your take on this one, Rich. Last year, allowed only 2 sacks, played all 16 games, and only had 5 penalties. So remember what we was talking about Paul's rant swearing about La'el Collins trade. This guy is literally, in terms of rankings for offensive linemen, they give him a score. He's like right up there, believe it or not. If you have a look, I think he's in the top 25 in terms of ranking score. What is it though with La'el Collins that has made him from this guy who's touted, as we said, a first round free agent, to becoming one of the best on the Cowboys offensive line? What is it that he does so well?
He's just the typical. He's in the same mold. I think it helped the group he went into with everyone that was there at the time he was drafted. Look at people he had. He had Tyron Smith. He had Zach Martin. He had Travis Frederick. The people, when you play with people like that kind of professionalism and the approach to the way you do things rubs off big time, especially when you're young and impressionable like that. Like you alluded to earlier, we've had 0 issues with him, to the best of my knowledge. And I know my memory is crap, but I don't remember him ever hearing of an issue and La'el Collins being involved. Ever. The guy has been literally your typical company kind of guy, like a Jason Witten kind of guy, in terms of keeps his nose clean, head down, gets on with his job. He comes to work every day, wants to be better. He has his eyes on the prize. He knows what he wants. And that's a Lombardi Trophy, and he's going to do whatever he wants to go and do it. And he helps the guy next to him as well. And anything else he can do. He is just one of those guys. And like you said, he got not even caught up in something. He was questioned over something. Just, what do you know about this? And it's draft season. It gets out. Everyone gets made aware of it. He falls spectacularly. And we end up with I think that was a bigger steal or as big a steal maybe as getting Dak in the fourth and getting CeeDee Lamb, and everything that went on this year and everything else. It's that kind of
value
impetus on it. Yeah, it's ridiculous, which is why I completely agree with the young man down there that the Jets are absolute fucking clowns. They can trot on, and if Sports Illustrated did the story on the wrong people, because the people smoking crack are definitely up in New York and not down in Dallas. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, don't let him go. I love it.
What a way to finish off there, Rich. What a way to finish off.
Yeah, I like it. But I mean, yeah. So there you go, guys. I mean, I think everyone's in agreement that honestly, the guy statistically as well each year has been getting better and better. Less penalties, less quarterback pressures.
Yes.
Less. You just watch it progressively getting better and better. Bad stats going down. Good stats going up.
He's consistent and he improves because he has his head down and he gets on with the work and the people he plays around.
Go on, Paul.
We need to remember he was drafted as an offensive guard.
True.
He played 2 years as guard, back up to what's his bloody name again? Doug Free. When Doug Free retired, he took over his position. He took over Lauren O'Leary's position at left guard the year before that. So we know he is a versatile, but. And he was solid. He was a monster at guard as well.
He wasn't bad, yeah.
But ever since we moved him to a right tackle, he's never really played right tackle for his career. He's always played mostly on the left side.
Yeah.
But playing as a guard and maybe like right guard, perhaps, given the take all the injuries back in college level. But my God, man, like what? It just completely his level just went straight up.
And one of the things as well, if you notice what a lot of teams are doing, because like in recent years, a lot of teams were putting a lot of pressure, getting their best pass rusher on the left tackles. That's always the battle. And there was a little bit, and it's caught up a bit now, where teams are like, well, why not put a good pass rusher on the right tackle? Because every team puts their right tackle as the generally not as high in standard. So that's happened, and there's a lot of pass rushes on that side of the line now, putting pressure on teams. And Lyle Collins is standing over there going, "Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm only going to allow 2 sacks on the season."
Yeah, it's funny that you just kind of mentioned that. It's like 9 times out of 10, most NFL teams, or pretty much, sorry, let me rephrase that. Most football teams always tend to put their best defensive line, like edge rusher, against the blindside tackle.
Yeah.
But that's the most key player in the O-line. Because if you can get past the blindside, the quarterback doesn't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But and this is why we've got Lisa Tyler Swift and now we've got Lyle Collins.
Yeah. So like because teams are trying to sneak on the other side of the line, generally what happens is then they've got to catch back up. But Lyle Collins is just taken to it like a duck to water and hasn't phased him at all.
It's pretty much yin and yang at fucking both sides,
Yeah, true.
It's like it's just a good balance we've got at both ends of the line.
Yeah. But looking at the guys in the further down the depth chart, then guys, I'll get a take of each player off you as we rip through them. So first of all, we signed a guy from Kansas City, Cam Irvin, who played in Florida State. We've signed him only to a 1-year deal. It's worth $2.5 million. So during his time in Kansas, he allowed 7 penalties and 5 sacks. You could probably see the difference between the starting tackle straight away and what we've got there. I'll go with you, Gray. He was taken 19th overall in the draft, so he's a first-round draft pick. That was in Cleveland, mine. So see what you want about that. But what you know about Cam Irvin, if you can give us any take on him, do you think he's a guy that can play backup? And if say God forbid something happens to either Lyle or Tyrone, he's a guy that can take over the role.
Well, I know he certainly did. He did well for replacing Eric Fisher
Yes.
When he went down, he played 8 games last year for the Super Bowl winning Chiefs.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, they declined his option. So they've obviously moved on. Considering they can get somebody else in, or maybe they're building up cap room to try and get Mahomes signed. I don't know. But to come in and play 8 games, they've obviously seen something in him to say, we're quite happy for you to protect the franchise. And he's a swing tackle from what I know as well.
Yeah, he is indeed.
He is,
you can, I mean, it throws into all sorts of stuff. I mean, if Smith was to go down, do you move Collins? Do you start Irving? I don't know. I mean, it's obviously their decision, but for me, it would be keeping Collins on the right and putting Irving in. But to come in and play 8 games for the Chiefs, you must know what you're doing. Not enough to start, and obviously the Chiefs have not decided to keep him, but he did play 8 games, which is better than most for backup tackles. So he's come in, done a job, and hopefully he'll come in and do the job. I mean, I'm getting down on Smith, but the stats don't lie. Like you said, Mike, he's not played 16 for 5 years now, so you can't argue with that. Yeah. Irving, you might find Irving on the field this year.
Could very well do, yeah.
I've got one word to summarise Cam Irving: safe.
Safe.
Yeah,
I like that. That. Yeah, that you're not gonna get a Pro Bowler, but you're not gonna get a Cam Fleming.
Yes.
Okay.
Who? I'm sorry. Who?
The main issue they have.
Who is the offensive tackle that we had that replaced Tyron Smith, and he was squad off against the Atlanta Falcons, where we gave up 5 sacks on that side. Does anyone remember?
Somebody is going to be screaming at the screen at us. I can see it now. I know. He literally played that one game.
It was that one game, and it was something. I don't know if it was like Bell or something like that. Hold on a minute. We'll continue, but I'll get the name. I'll do my investigation while we're chatting away.
But tell you what, though, that game showed how. I know this is going back to Tyron Smith a little bit, but that game showed how much of an impact.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the
not how much 100% Tyron Smith.
Got it, guys.
Yeah,
Chaz Green.
Chaz Green.
Yeah.
Chaz Green. How did we forget Chaz Green?
I know. How could you forget that? That was an awful.
Well, I want to forget Chaz Green.
Then we had his backup for one other game, and he just as bad.
Yeah.
Adrian Claiborne had 6 sacks.
6 sacks. Yeah.
Fumble.
He almost broke the record. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was funny is we drafted Chaz, and everyone was like, "I will develop him with that," and he got his chance, and it was just like, "Oh boy." Yeah.
In the words of Kevin Hart, he wasn't ready.
Yeah. But here we go. Let's get on to the next one, right, Paul? Brandon Knight from Indiana. Now, here's a guy who was an undrafted free agent as well. He's 676,000 against a cap, becomes an undrafted free agent in 2022. He has played 7 games, 109 snaps, and during that time, 0 sacks, 0 penalties, 0 pressures.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Needless to say. This is now his 2nd season, I believe.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
It is.
So, and he's 23. I mean, I'm just looking at his stats. Not his stats. His profile.
Yeah.
142 kilograms. He's a big boy. Big. Mm-hmm. And I kind of. I'm sorry. I just had to get out his number there. I'm not even going to mention it. But yeah. We've not seen enough of him, but I'd love to see him a lot in the preseason.
Yes, just to see what we get.
To see what we get. Like, can we? Like, do we really need that cap up with Cam. Like I know it's not much in comparison compared to Brandon Knight, but it is quite a different story. Knight compared to Irvin. But what I'm trying to think is like, can Brandon Knight do a better job as the backup role? That's
yeah. And I think that's one of the ways it's going to go. I think he could very well make the final cut, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you saw it, like you said, he's not done anything wrong during the best parts when he's been on the field. So, continuous progression.
Yeah, definitely. And it's all about progression. As long as you're progressing, that's the main thing.
Get better every day.
That's it. Just get better every day. That's the main thing. But moving on to the next guy, which I'm going to take to you, Rich, is Mitch Hyatt from Clemson. Guy is a practice squad guy last year, and again, undrafted free agent again. But he is a 2-time winning college football champion. Taken Clemson twice to the national champion winning, and he's a 2-time winning Jacob Award winner, which is given to the best offensive lineman of the division or conference. What do we know about Mitch Hyatt, and will he go back on the practice squad, or do you think he's going to make it?
Not a great deal. I do think, in terms of what we know about him, I do think he probably makes the practice squad, because they really know what they've got. Same as previously, and same with similar sort of situation as Blake Jarwin. They don't know what they've got there to really say yay or nay, really. I mean, I know obviously they've got practices and everything else, but I mean, he hasn't had any live NFL snaps. You don't know what he can really do in that sort of situation. I think he's, because they've added a lot of guys. Obviously, one of the things we're going through a lot of names right now. They've added a lot of guys to try and cover holes and all the rest of it, with backup behind Tyron Smith and everything. I do think he makes the practice squad again. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling, in all honesty. Yeah.
No, I like it. Talking about guys that we took to cover, one of the other guys is Wyatt Miller from UCF Knights. We actually signed him to a 2-year contract. He's an exclusive rights free agent in 2022. This year against the cap, he's only 29,000, which is crazy to think about. But he was literally taken from the Jets. I think he was actually taken off their practice squad, I think. I'm not entirely sure. But he was literally played a game to cover us when Suafilo went out injured, just to cover us. Just to mention on that guy, to be honest, I don't know if he's going to make the cut, to be honest with you. I don't know if anyone wants to add on that.
I'm just reading up. I don't think it's him. It's regards to the Jets. He was signed by the Dallas Cowboys as an undrafted free agent on April 30th, 2019. Said he struggled as a backup left tackle. He was released. Then he was signed to the practice squad. Then he was promoted to the roster on December 10th, 2019. I mean, obviously based on that, like you said, he kind of struggled in that. But like throughout his college career, I was quite amazed how. But obviously, we're not the scouts, and they've obviously made their prediction right if he struggled in the pro level like that initially. But
go on, sorry, not interrupting.
I mean, I was just saying, like from his college career and stuff like that, it's well documented. Like most snaps within like 13, like I think he's like the all-time leader in snaps from scrimmage for the Clemson Tigers or something like that.
Okay.
Like during. So hold on, let me bring up the stats. So Hyatt became the 13th repeat winner of the award of the Jacobs Blocking Trophy, like as for you just mentioned there. And he also became the Tigers' all-time leader in snaps from scrimmage during the 2018 Louisville game.
Yeah, I was on about Wyatt Miller, not Mitch Hyatt.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So I've been going about someone else.
Yeah. But the guy who just.
My God, I do apologise, everybody.
You're all right, though. It's all right. Yeah. You're cool. You're cool.
Whatever you do, just don't say you're low key faded. Just don't say that. You're fine.
It's all right.
But
too late for that.
I tell you what, right? Let's let you redeem yourself, right, Paul? Talk to us then about one of the guys we picked up off the undrafted free agency this year as a rookie, offensive tackle Terrence Steele from Texas Tech Red Raiders. Was at the Senior Bowl. The only thing I've gone through with him is the guy during his entire college career has only missed 2 games, and he was on a very strong O-line that whilst he was playing this year during his senior season, the entire O-line allowed only 18 sacks on the season.
He is a natural left tackle.
Yeah.
Natural. He's 6'6". He's over 300 pounds and can move like he's a linebacker.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone's seen the footage of this guy, man, mate, it's ridiculous. Like, he was it. Like I've not watched much game of him, but when you do see him, like, he was a standout when he played for Texas Tech. And oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid O-line that they had, and he was like he was at the
he was the pinnacle. He was the pinnacle.
Yeah, of it all.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is just me, but I'm really quite surprised that he went undrafted. I would have but see when you saw some of the offensive linemen that did get drafted, they were nowhere the same athleticism, the same awareness as some players that you may have got in the later rounds. Some of them were very questionable for this whole draft. I think that may be just due to because the type of draft that we had this year, you couldn't evaluate the players properly. I don't know if that's just me, but I think there's going to be a lot of hit and misses for every team this year because of this year's draft class.
Yeah. Do any of you think that this is a guy that's going to make the practice squad? Or do you think he's got a long road to get there?
I think he might well. I mean, obviously we need to see how it goes. I think there's definite potential there for it because, like everything you guys have highlighted, he strikes me because I vaguely remember from what Paul was saying there. Vaguely remember him saying something similar on draft night. About how other people this day after or something about how loads of people went and he went undrafted. He to me seems like one of those picks that you get and it's like, how the hell did we pick him up as a drafted free agent? One of those guys that you're like low key quite excited about and you hope you can develop them. He's that kind of guy to me. Mm-hmm. So I really hope he does end up in practice squad because, like you said, he's got that natural talent, and even if he ends up being a good steady Eddie. He's a good steady Eddie, and that's something we don't have and haven't had behind Tyron Smith.
Yeah,
well, I think we're trying to forget as well. It's like Steele can play both sides of the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, he's not shown up, but from what reading up on it, like he's actually like I'm pretty sure there was during the NFL Combine, he did mention something briefly. Says, "I'm not just a left tackle. I can play right side as well." But I do he does prefer playing on the left, but that's always a good thing. Because what if Collins goes down?
Mm-hmm.
Who have we got to back him up on the right hand side now? So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Always cover yourself.
Just on the undrafted aspect of it, I don't know how you guys feel about offensive tackle, but particularly left tackle. See if you go down the list of the starters, the vast majority of them are first round picks, particularly on the blind side.
Yeah,
and I just find with guys that go undrafted, well, Lyle Collins being an exception because obviously he was projected to be a first round. I feel that if you don't get a first round blue chip talent at left tackle, you're going to keep looking for him. So it's nigh on impossible for these guys to make a starting position because they're constantly looking at the draft. Who's the top guy coming out? Who's the stick on that we can plug in day one and he's going to take over and look after the franchise for the next 10 years. So I just feel for these guys, it's kind of, you either have it in college or you're a long-term development. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't find an undrafted guy and you're going to chuck him in his second season to start 16 games for you. So for me, it's nigh on impossible to become a starter if you don't hit the ground running in college, particularly at the blindside offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Like, you might get in somewhere at right tackle, you might make a guard position, but that's why we're going down these guys and saying don't really know too much about this guy. We're not sure, and this guy might go here, he might go there. If you don't have a tackle, you're trying to draft one in the first round. And we didn't go for tackle because we've got Tyron Smith, obviously. So, I mean, they only plays 13 games, but it's still a hell of a 13 games, let's face it.
And in all fairness as well, like over the course of the years, maybe not so much the early 2000s, but overall the past 25 years, we've actually always done a good, job when it comes to offensive linemen, either you're in the first round or undrafted. I mean, take for example the Great Wall of Dallas, when you had like Mark Stepnowski and Tuinei, etc., man. Exactly, Nate Newton. All those guys were pretty much all undrafted, and they were the pinnacle force for Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith back then. But obviously, we just had that misfortune to didn't have that much investment of a line as much. What happened there?
I don't know.
Richard, what the hell are you doing? Never mind.
I'm playing around with the screen trying to get it all sort of like everyone, all four people, but it's just being weird.
Right. Well, a blooper within the show. Fantastic.
It's always good.
What was I saying?
Talking about.
That's just thrown all of us.
The Great Wall, and it was.
So obviously we had the wee dry patch where we didn't do that. Then we started really investing by getting Smith. Then getting
the start.
Then Frederick, then Zach Martin, and we ended up getting Lyle Collins. So we ended up four players that were first round talents, and it made a difference. Now we've got that level barrier where it's now helping the people we're drafting in now to get up to that level. Yeah. So it's like we're setting the foundations better.
And I mean, as you just mentioned there, I mean, you're talking about the Cowboys, how they drafted, as we said, Tyrone being the start of when they started to build that, the beginning of the Great Wall again, if you like. One of the guys who was at the tail end of that was probably, I would say, like a lot of people will say Zeke is the best player on this team. I will argue with Zach Martin, who is our next guy. Now, this guy, I mean, he's been in the league 7 years. He's made the Pro Bowl, 6 of them. Like, it is unbelievable what this guy's doing.
Well, was it not 6 seasons, 6 Pro Bowls?
6 Pro Bowls, and he's in 7th year this year.
Aye, this year, yeah. Right. And just to save the confusion there. It's been every year.
There's 1 year where he hasn't done it. This year. But we haven't played it. And 4 of the years as well, he's been all pro. I mean, this guy is crazy. Taken 16th overall in the draft in 2014. Now, I'm going to give you some very nifty stats on Zach, and then I'll get all of your take.
Before you do that, the fact that we picked him over Johnny Manziel just says it all.
Yes, that was the Johnny Manziel, and I'm a Texas A&M fan, so we won't go there, all right?
I'm sorry.
Now, this year, he is 15 million against the cap, right? But I'm not even
happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother asking the usual question. I think everyone will agree it doesn't matter. In 2021, his dead cap is 8 million, so they have an out next year if they really wanted to, but I don't think that's going to happen. Now, last year in 2019, 2 penalties, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and then just to add a little something else into this, In his entire career, he's had only 8 sacks. Right, this is on pass protection, and he averages, whilst in pass protection, 1 sack every 463 snaps in pass protection. It's not just not ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, man.
I mean,
Mad.
just to touch on it. I mean, he turns 30 this year.
Yeah.
No concerns over any drop in talent. The guy's an absolute stud, a Pro Bowler. Stick on before we've even played a snap. Worth every single dollar.
Mm-hmm.
A cornerstone of the offensive line. I can't say enough good things about him.
You know what is the most scandalous statistic about this? Not what he's done, it's what the league has done for him. They've made him 59th of the top NFL 100. 59th.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's probably the best guard.
He's absolutely, he's the best guard. Right? And I'm just checking to see right now who's ahead of him. And I want to get your guys' input on this. So let me just check. So Tyler Smith was 52. Hold on a minute. Sorry, I stand corrected. Hold on a minute. Zach Martin was 59. He was 59. Tyron Smith was ahead of him, regardless of the injury.
Yeah.
Which is questionable.
Yeah.
And the only reason Tyron Smith's that high is because of the injury.
So Tyron Smith's 52. Zach Martin's 59.
And Zach hasn't missed a game.
Who's the highest offensive line, Paul? Roughly.
The highest offensive line is, let me see.
I always have a thought in the back of my head that offensive line isn't sexy, which is why he's not making the top 50.
Big Davy B for the Green Bay Packers. Just because he can chug a beer doesn't mean he's fucking better.
Yeah.
Anyone can chug a beer.
I chugged one last night.
My missus could chug a fucking beer decently. She's a fucking good at playing cards.
It's ridiculous. Hold on, let me just check. I'm just trying to see where the guards are. So it should be guard.
But I mean, while you're just having a look at the guard rankings,
Zach Martin's the only guard in the top 100. Only guard.
That doesn't make any sense.
So that's there you go. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, but that still doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. You should be in the top 30 at least.
And there should be at least 3 guards in the top 100, I would say.
Yeah, you would consider like at least one more.
Or at least one more. I mean, yeah.
He is the only guard in there.
If you're going purely on all pro teams, you've got to have another guard.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
you've got to put somebody in there.
Let's go the other side of the guard line, right? And I'll get your take, Rich. Connor Williams from Texas. This is his 3rd year. He was taken in the 2nd round in 2018, right? Now, he was a guy looking who could go into the 1st round. So far, he's played 10 games in 2018, and he played 11 in 2019. In week 13, he went out with a torn ACL. During that time, he had last year 5 penalties and 1 sack. Now, the other guy, which we'll talk about in a minute, Connor McGovern, so there's a fight between the Connors. Is this because obviously Connor's got the more experience and he's played games? Do you think that he's locked in for the other guard role?
To start, I think going into training camp, yes.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
What happens from there on
is anybody's game.
Because like you said, it is going to be a bit of a battle of the Connors sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
But I expect more from him. And I don't know if that's me being harsh, but I do.
See, that's the thing. I was kind of just a bit. See, I think we may be putting too much pressure on Connor Williams.
Yeah.
Because He was touted as the first round. Like he was supposed to be an instant fit. Not all players can be like that. Like he's played like the team he always wanted to play for was for Dallas, but
I think if I remember rightly, Connor Williams, I think, was even invited to the Red Room at the draft.
He was. Yeah. He was there the first day, and he was there the second day. He came out.
The second day, yeah.
Like, but it was even. But he's so glad that he stayed there though, because it was in Dallas, and he got drafted by Dallas.
That's true.
Like, so it even made it more special for him. But that's besides the fact. Like, in terms of when you're looking like compared to the other players, and it just really depends on your mental state how quickly you can learn the playbook. End of the day, learn the stunts, learn the types of blocks, who you're double teaming in terms of running in the field, or you're going to like deflect a block onto your tackle or onto your center. Like, it's all those different scenarios that it could be a bit overwhelming.
And I think a lot of what we're talking about with the O-line as well is it depends what they decide to go for. I mean, it could be that they're going zone blocking scheme. And I think if they do stick with the zone blocking scheme, Williams beats McGovern.
Yeah.
In that
sense. I mean, when we did have him playing, he was under his strength was not visible when you really know. Like Aaron Donald had a rag day with him.
Yeah, he did.
Big time, and quite a few not big named nose tackles, free techs were pushing him about, driving him 5 yards back into Prescott, having to scramble the ball, and that. So it was like forced pressures on the quarterback. So it wasn't good, but he did improve this year. He did improve.
Yeah,
Sorry, last season. Sorry, he did improve.
He did have a better anchor. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I still think Solofilo did put in a better shift than he did.
True.
Yeah.
And the big issue with Williams as well is that it was in week 13 when he got the torn ACL. So he's still really at the tail end of the recovery with all of that.
Yeah.
So we, like you say, we don't know until we get there what it really looks like. But on the other end of this, and I get your take on him, Graham, is the other Connor McGovern from Penn State. Second year, taken in the third round. This is his second year. Taken in the third round in 2019. Literally spent the season on IR with a torn pec. But what can you tell us about McGovern? And if he does beat Williams out, what we'll be looking at in terms of a player?
Well, you're gonna straight away. You're talking about somebody that's had a massive setback at a time where he needs to be in learning. You can only learn so much in the film room and in the locker room and so on. Horrible injury, that tearing a pectoral muscle that put him out for the entire season. I feel like this is where Rich and I are going to team up a little bit here and start talking about papering over cracks when you start talking about McGovern and Williams, because these are not the blue chips that we're used to. These are they have faults, and you can see that they have faults because they're second and third round and fourth round players and so on. So
developmental.
They are developmental, but you can only spend one first round pick every year, and it's not been on offensive line. So you are dealing with projects. For me, it'll be Williams, like Rich said, it'll be Williams going into camp who will be considered the starter. Obviously, we've not seen McGovern yet, and I think the pectoral muscle's been a big setback for him. Does he make the roster? Even I don't know. I think Williams has got the experience in his pocket that makes him the starter at the moment. But I don't see the pectoral muscle as, my understanding of it, that's not a career ender. It's just a sore one, particularly when you think of offensive linemen. So if you can come in and have a good camp, there's no reason why he can't challenge for that spot, because like I said before, Williams is no stick on to be the starter. If I would say where was the weak spot across that five, it doesn't come close. It was Connor Williams. So that is the position that's up for grabs, in my opinion, on the offensive line. And if McGovern can find that third round talent that we saw in the draft last year, there's no reason why he can't unseat Williams for it, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. And then just to move on then, guys, to the last guy is Cody Wichmann. In his 4th year from Fresno State, was taken in the 6th round by the Rams. At the time, they were St. Louis Rams, I think. Did that work out right? Yeah, they would have been St. Louis Rams. That was in 2015. Guy's on a 2-year deal. He's into his 2nd year already. $750K against the cap. Has played 24 games. During that time, 2 penalties, 2 sacks. The issue, of course, is the Rams have a bad O-line, to say the least, and they still released this guy. I don't know what that says about how he is as a player. He has really not done much. I think he's more of a centre guard sort of guy for the Cowboys. I don't know what you think about that. He's more that guy that can bounce between both centre and guard. Or do you disagree?
I've got really not much comment. I'll be honest with this one. I'll be honest.
No.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people watching or listening will be who?
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Why have I never heard of him before when he's been on the team?
Yeah, he's like, we all know the name because he's been in the team for quite a while, but we've not seen really much of an ounce of him. So he's obviously been kept on for good reason.
Yeah.
For so long, but that's the only thing I can really think of. But did you say this is going to be the last guy we're talking about?
No, the next group is the centre.
Oh, I was just about to ask that because it's just the way how you said it. I was like, we're missing out the centres.
No, we're on centres now. Hit me with it, Jumbo Joe.
Solid.
Solid.
Like the fact that he took over Frederick's role 2 seasons ago, he was solid, man. He did a great job. He filled in, did what needs must. No questions asked. He's reliable.
Yeah.
Very reliable.
And here's a crazy thing that people will not realise about Joe Looney is that
he can dance.
He can dance. Videos, he can dance in his underpants. But believe it or not, he's actually one of the longest serving players in the league, in league years, for the Cowboys. He's in his 9th year. Taken by San Francisco 49ers in 2012, joined Dallas in 2016. This year, he's only on a 1-year deal, which may tell you something about another player who's a centre on our list. 1.1 mil against the cap this year. 2018, he played to try and help Travis Frederick out with his recovery, so played a full season. During that time, 4 penalties, 1 sack. And then last year, dabbled a bit as well, but Frederick was back. But Looney's now back in the fold as the centre number 1. But last year, 1 penalty, 1 sack. So he is a reliable guy. I don't know what you guys think. I think he's by far Travis Frederick, but he's also not a guy that is a soggy paper bag in the middle.
No, he's on you go, Paul.
I was just about to say, it's like, regardless what you think of Joe Looney, if it's good or you think he's just a backup, he can probably start for all other 31 teams in the NFL at centre.
Yeah,
like, he's proved that.
Yeah.
I think to go back to draft night again, the Ruiz was on the board at the time, and he went 5 picks later. You can bet there was a conversation about Ruiz, and it must have come up at some point. The conversation must have been: are we happy with Joe Looney? Can we take Lamb and be happy with Looney? And the answer's obviously been yes. So they must see something in him to go, yep, I'm good with this guy. Let's go and take Lamb, because you could have had not a blue chip talent, but you could have had somebody that can play 16 games. But they've obviously said, no, let's run with Looney. He's been with the team for a long time. He's more continuity for Dak. So yeah, I'm happy with Looney as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Unrelated question with regards to the Cowboys. Do you know if it's crazy that the New Orleans Saints drafted 2 centers in a row? The guy, like,
one of them was a Texas A&M guy.
Yeah, and he helped them get into the playoffs. So what's going to happen to him? If I was him, I'd be like, that, trade me. I know what I'd be no backup.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Is it trade bait? Because you always need, offensive linemen.
Yeah, you can never have enough. You can never have enough. You ask any team, NFL or college, and they say, "What do you wish you could have more of?" I guarantee they'll all say offensive line.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I would you would need more offensive linemen than you do more D linemen. And I've played both sides of the ball before, and if you don't have an O lineman, you're not going to put points on the board.
Yeah, definitely. But I'll ask you, Rich. Do you think this could be, because it's only a 1-year deal they offered Joey? Are they looking then that this could possibly be his last year as a Cowboy? Possibly.
Maybe. I think they've just sort of hedged their bets a bit, really, because it is very unknown territory for them in terms of, Frederick everyone understands the situation and nobody criticizes it, but it was a very still in terms of having someone there ready to take over, very abrupt. So it is uncharted territory, so they've got to hedge their bets with it. I don't, giving him a multi-year deal would be a bit silly, rather than saying, we drafted a guy, give you a 1-year deal, let's see who wins. You've got your stripes, this guy seems quite decent. Let's see where we go. That's just a common sense kind of approach that Stephen and Will McClay sort of have taken with things in multiple areas. I don't see this being any different.
I've got one word: insurance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an insurance. It's like if Joe Looney has a great year, he probably will get offered a multi-year. If he doesn't do too well, then obviously our next guy we're just about to talk about will probably end up taking the starting role.
Yeah. Well,
exactly. You talk about the 1-year deal. I think you have to look into the fact that he is 29. So say he plays on the 1 year, and I know we're getting carried away with ourselves, but say he does have a cracking year, you could franchise him.
Yeah.
And then you get another year out of him, and then you consider, are you still a 16-game player at the age of 31, 32? So they can hold on to him.
Yeah.
But that might actually work out cheaper in the long run.
Yeah.
It's just franchise tagging them. But it depends what we do.
Yeah, it depends on what happens with the cap next year as well, of course.
Yeah. There's so many factors, man.
Yeah. But
I love this game.
Yeah, let's go to the guy next on the depth chart, which is an undrafted free agent again from the Colts. It is Adam Redmond from Harvard.
Are you not bet?
I'm working down. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm just saying that theoretically on the depth chart, Adam Redmond. 2018, he actually played 10 games, only allowing 1 sack. Last year, he was inactive for 9 games, and then he got put into IR after that. Do you guys think that this is a guy that, based on, see what I'm doing here, based on what they've drafted, do you think this is a guy, and looking at what they did with him last year, he can make the cut? Or do you think that this is another, as we've already said it, insurance policy, especially with what's going on? Is this guy make the cut or no?
I think he'll still make the cut.
Okay.
I still think he probably might make the 52, or is it 55 now?
Well, 55, but that might go back down again.
I've lost track now, honestly. I've lost track. But the fact is, I still think he can still be part of the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can play multiple positions.
Yes.
And he brings the word, and here's the other singular word: diversity.
Yeah.
So versatility and diversity. So I find that is quite key as well, because I don't know if it might be just me, but Redmond seems to be one of those type of guys. He seems to know what he's doing and the position. Maybe not the most skilled of it the whole lot, but he knows what he's doing. He might not be the fastest, but he's got that.
Yeah, I mean, during the 10-game stretch that he had in 2018, he only allowed one sack. He did allow some pressures, but that's not neither by the by. I mean, the guy as well is on a 1-year deal, and it's less than $1 million.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, going to Harvard, you've got a head on your shoulders, so he will know the position. And also, you could consider it as direct competition for McGovern at guard as well. You know, it's all in the mix. And like you say, it's less than $1 million, so he could be a cap casualty or he could make the team. Depends.
I totally did not realise he went to Harvard.
Yeah.
I was putting saying that there.
There you go. There you go. It all works out. You know. Is Harvard law or medical? I can never remember.
Couldn't even remember. I think it's
Harvard law, isn't it?
Harvard law, isn't it?
Law.
Yeah. So there you go. You know, he's got to have the brains. But I mean, just to wind you up, Paul, before we get to the next guy on the list, there is another guy, and that's Marcus Henry from Boise State. He's on a 1-year deal, undrafted free agent in New Orleans in 2016. He's had 1 year. He's been out the league. Cowboys have got him on a 2-year deal for $610K. The only thing I will say about this pick, you guys don't have to talk much about it. The only thing I will say is Boise State. He would have been on the same time as the offensive coordinator. So has that got anything to do with it?
Potentially.
He's bounced around the league. He's played a lot in Canada.
And he's been his squad more than anything.
He's 34. It doesn't scream roster for me.
I think that's just more.
Did you say how old did you say he was?
Is he?
Is he not 20? Is he not 27?
Marcus Henry. I didn't write his age down. Normally I do.
Yeah. He's 27. This has been his first year in the NFL.
Yeah. You're thinking of a different Marcus Henry, Gray.
Right.
This guy was an undrafted free agent in New Orleans in 2016. But then he literally left the league, and then he's not left the league, but bounced out of the league. He is the only thing I will say that is quite appealing to the Cowboys is that it's only a 2-year contract he's on, so it would make him an exclusive rights free agent in 2022. So that could be the only appeal, I think, that would help with the Cowboys in terms of roster spotting and all the rest of it. But let's get to the next guy, or should we just finish there?
Away you go.
I knew that would have him. We did have a guy taken in the draft.
Tyler Barras.
Yeah, we spoke about him extensively during the draft period. This is a guy who is from Wisconsin, so there are big ties with the Cowboys, with the Wisconsin picks, an offensive lineman. As we mentioned, big fan favorite at UK Cowboys, Travis Frederick. Right, let's start with you, Paul, and we'll work around the house. I know we've spoken quite extensively about them, so bear in mind if you guys want to hear what we talked about with those guys, go back to our draft shows back in April about him. Do you think this is a guy that's going to climb the ladder, be not only a guy that overtakes Adam Redmond, but eventually, if things go to plan, is the Joe Looney replacement?
Potentially, if his injury worries do not surface again.
That is the big issue, yeah.
I mean, his college career says it all. I mean, he's won the Remington Award, Trophy Award winner. He's 2-time first team All Big Ten, All American. He's solid, man. He's a solid player, and obviously with the injuries and that's what kind of set him back. way further. Like if he never had those injuries and he still continued playing on, he would easily, without a doubt, would have been like a early second round, first round pick that year if it wasn't for those injuries.
Well, I mean, on my draft board the year before, he like at the beginning of the year, he was my centre number one.
He would have won in the first round that year. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, there you go, there's my set, and then all of a sudden injuries, and then he didn't look the same. Where it's more flexibility with him. But the one thing I will say is that something that is extremely similar to Travis Frederick, and we've already spoken about it. It's upstairs. The guy, football IQ, through the roof.
It's the Wisconsin system. They truly believe that the center is the most important role of all football, and it is. Because they're the ones that's going to tell their guards to position, saying, "Oh, watch out for the blitz, watch out for that." They're the ones that's controlling the snap. Centers are so they don't get enough love.
No, and when they're on the field, they touch the ball every snap.
Yes.
Every snap.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I know, like we said, we've talked quite in depth about Tyler, but have you got anything you want to add about Tyler roster wise and going forward, Graham? What you foresee for him, if you like?
Yeah, he's the alternative if they find that Looney can't cut it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, he has been taken there because Looney is on a 1-year deal, and I think he'll be expected to be more than a backup. He'll be expected to push. Like you say, first round talent. They'll be hoping that the injuries clear up when he gets to spend a year as a backup, say for instance. And then they can get to grips with what they really have. But if Looney goes and does his job and gets in there and plays a 16, and we love to have him around, then they still have a few years of Diaz. I mean, is it 4 years they've got on rookie deals? So he will be there for the long term, I think, because the talent is there. And if they can clear up the injuries, then we've got a good pick there.
Down, and then I'll let you have the final say on this one, Rich. In terms of what we saw with him last year, Tyler, his body control and his technique just seemed to be thrown, completely gone. Obviously, that's down to injury, obviously. Do you think, though, knowing what our medical staff is like, and I mean, I say our Dallas Cowboys medical staff is like, that they will be able to bring the old Tyler, I know he's young anyway, but we say the old Tyler, the pre-injury Tyler, back into, to bring him back to surface?
If anyone, I'm a big supporter of this medical team and strength and conditioning staff. If any staff in the NFL can do it, it's ours.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer of it. I really do think that.
Prime example, Jalen Smith.
Exactly.
Amari Cooper.
There's the umpteen guys you can list throughout the years, even that I've been watching.
Yeah.
It's mad. But to mirror what the guys have just said, he is very much, I think he is the guy that's been brought in. He's to be groomed up as the next guy. I think he's gonna make the cut. He's gonna be the backup that does a little bit more because Frederick is not here. But like he said, you need to give him time to make sure those injury concerns are definitely as buried as possibly can be, and he strengthens up after it and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I think if anyone can, like I said, if any team can do it, I think it's the strength and conditioning team can do it. I think it's this one. Okay. So hopefully, it's one of those things. It's a fingers crossed, hope for the best, plan for the worst sort of scenario, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you're talking about centre being the most important. If you look in this draft, we didn't draft offensive line apart from one guy, and he plays centre. So they've got obviously a lot of what they want to concentrate on. And I always say, build a team down the middle, build your offense down the middle, centre, quarterback, running back. Yeah, build it straight down the middle.
Travis Frederick was projected to be a third round talent, and he turned out all right. So
that's it.
The latest Wisconsin centre, who knows?
Joke's on you, Mel Kiper.
Yeah, I know. I still like that. I still love that.
Oh, honestly, man, that was the best, man. Like, everyone's like, who, why would Dallas do that? And Mel Kiper was thrown off his nut because he got his draft predictions wrong. Pfft, idiot.
Right, but what I'm going to ask of all you guys, you're probably going to have the same answer, but we've done it for all the positions. I'll just give a shout out to Dallas Cowboys Experience, Cowboys Experience, our sponsor. But before I do that, I'll let you guys have a think. I want you to name the 5 starting offensive linemen. So I'll ask you in a second. So let you think about that. 3 are easy, 2 a bit more harder. Yes, Dallas Cowboys. I've done it again. Cowboys Experience. Cowboys Experience, our sponsor, guys. If you're going to go to a game this year, make sure you book it through Cowboys Experience. They have tours, tickets, and pre-game events that you can go to and meet great players. If you do make a booking, make sure you use the booking code UK Cowboys. Oh my God, it's all falling apart. It's all falling apart. Use the booking code UK Cowboys and you'll get a free gift just for saying it. But yes, send us your photos when you're at the game and with Cowboys Experience and with all the guys. We love to see those pictures as well. But yes, that's Cowboys Experience, guys. Our sponsor. You can see it swirling about up there. But here we go then. I'll start with you, Rich, because you were laughing the most at me. So give me your starting 5 offensive linemen. Start from left to right.
Should we just take the 3 that are given as...
If you want.
It's given because everyone's going to pick them.
Yeah.
Fuck. Looney. I don't know which way it goes. I'm unsure.
Come on.
You want me to go?
Go on then, Paul. You hit me with it because they say dead is not good here. So you hit me with your 5. Go left to right, mate.
Left to right. So Smith, McGovern,
Okay.
Looney. Shit. Question mark. I don't know for right guard. Shit.
Come on. Pick one. Pick one.
Zach Martin, sorry. And then obviously Lyle Collins.
Okay. Graham, hit me with your 5.
I'm going to go Smith, Williams, because we don't know what McGovern is, Looney, Martin, Collins.
I can't believe I fucking froze up at the right guard. Fuck me.
You're all right, mate. It's late at night, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like, Dennis. It's like, there we go.
I want to say...
We've probably got more bloopers in this show than the whole season.
I want to save McGovern, but you quite simply don't know what he is.
Oh, to try ask Brian that one. Ask Brian that question.
I can't shake the fact. I don't know why. I can't shake a gut feeling that at some point we're going to see McGovern and he's going to take over this. Well, whenever this season happens, whether it's this season or next season, whatever happens. I think it's going to happen. I really do. Day 1, probably
Williams. Okay.
Just before we finish up, we did actually miss it one player, but we know he's not going to make the final 52 final squad, and that's our Mexican international.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but we know he's going to be guaranteed a futures contract or be part of the practice squad. But I'll be very interested to see how he develops more than anything. Like he'll be different snaps for sure during pre-season, but that's roughly about it, really.
Yeah, and you're probably looking at if he does, he's going to be with like the same sort of guys in that your 4th, 5th stringers all the way down the bottom. All the way down the bottom of the chart, really. So he's got a heavy road.
I can't remember his name to save this. I'm just trying to get his name before we finish up. It is Isaac Alarcon. Isaac Alarcon.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was having a look myself then, but yeah.
So he's on the international scheme. But very interesting to see how he develops.
Because he's on the international scheme, he doesn't actually add to a roster spot. So it's
it was the same with a few years ago. Effie Obada.
Yeah.
Yep, but they kind of reintroduced that as a main policy when he was with Carolina. He actually kind of did take a place in our team because before the NFL international scheme took part, was official. It was when he was at Carolina, so we maybe missed out on that.
Yeah. I was having a look myself, but yeah. And that, guys, wraps up the O-line.
I have one final curveball.
Go on.
I've been sitting on this.
Go on.
I was waiting for the starting lineup, right? Ronald Leary, who played 12 games last year.
I know.
Is still unsigned.
Yeah, he is. He's on the
free agent. Keep that in mind.
That is true.
Ronald Leary is still a free agent.
I mentioned this before a couple of weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure we all completely agreed at that point. We were like, yeah, that's something we'd be okay with.
Yeah, I think I said that how months ago. How is he still a free agent?
Yeah.
Like even get him for 1 year deal type of thing. It'd still be even his experience to bring it on to the likes of Connor Williams and McGovern. You know, like
my kind of guess at it is, one, he doesn't know if he wants to play anymore, or two, he's waiting for a starting position. Somebody might come in week 3 or 4 and say, listen, we're light at guard. Do you want to come and start for us?
I'm going to cut to the chase. I think he actually could be our starter if he was to sign right now.
It depends what you get. You'd
have
to take a look at him first.
Played 12 games for the Broncos last year. Yeah. So I don't think he's a dud just yet. He's 31. So
he's got 1 good year left in him.
Yeah.
Still
there.
So, but even that, even if he just wants to be the starter, but he can still pass on some amazing knowledge, and knowledge is key for all O-line. Like, just read different, maybe how to utilize your kick steps, or how to hand placement on the block, something like that. Like, he might do things a little bit more different from what his coaches tell him. He might learn something from Denver that he didn't learn with the previous O-line coach at Dallas. Who knows? It's all about passing knowledge on to the next person as well.
Yeah. Yes, but next week we continue, people, with the positional breakdown series. I know somebody who's very eager to get on this position. It is, of course, the defensive lineman, the opposite side, the wrecking balls of American football, as they call them. So make sure you watch that as we continue the breakdown series, and to end season 1, still a lot of work to do on season 2, but we're almost there. But for now, guys, it's myself, Richard, Paul, and Graham. We will see you next week. Thank you for joining us, and stay safe out there, people.
Stay safe, people. Stay safe.
See you next time.